Hello everybody, welcome, and a lovely day today. It's cloudy and of course the usual. Yes, but it's quite warm, so that's good news. There are a few videos out there who are making videos about Motability and the fact that prices have gone up quite a lot. The prices that we're talking about are for the advance payment. Now, if you're as old as I am, you may remember these things. These things were quite popular in the 70s and 80s. I mean, well, I don't know when they stopped doing them, but they were a form of vehicle that people with disabilities could get, and they were like a two-stroke motor, like a motorbike. And technically, it's only suitable for one person. But I know me and my mate coming back from the pub. Yeah, I know. I was sort of in the back of the behind the seat, and he was driving. Yeah, let's say no more about that. It was the days when you could get away with anything. And to be fair, it was only just down the road. But hey, you know, that's the vehicle that we're talking about, like a mobility type vehicle that disabled people could get. Then, of course, the Motability scheme came out. Now, this was obviously with the money that you got from mobility allowance in those days, and then of course it was DLA, disability living allowance. That was the next one, and then of course from there it went to PIP. I think that was about 2013, something like that. That you were actually forced to transfer over onto PIP. And of course PIP is a benefit that you don't have to be means tested for. And also you can get it if you're working or you're not working. It's irrelevant. There's two parts, obviously. There's a care part, there's a care plan part where you need help. It's about what you can and cannot do for yourself, and whether you need help or whatever. And it's 12 points for the higher rate, enhanced rate. Then there's a mobility section, and again 12 points. It gives you the maximum, and of course it's not, I mean, the assessment is pretty much, yeah, you have to go for it to be able to get the points. 12 points is, well, what do points make?
What do points make?
Exactly, they make cars. Yes, so it is very much beneficial if you do get 12 points. Obviously that means that you can't walk very far, and obviously you have difficulty with mobility. What you can do then is exchange your allowance for a car, and it's brilliant because it has all of these features, and you'll see that there's a list of things that you can get. It's obviously free servicing, free tyres, you get breakdown assistance, you get insurance for it, for the car. You can have another driver. You obviously have to register the driver. So for example, if I wanted to put my sister on there, just in case I needed some help driving, or if I wasn't able to, or if you have somebody who's in a wheelchair and they cannot drive, they can have somebody appointed to drive. You can have that on the insurance. Now, of course, it's changed. The insurance company has changed. It's now currently Direct Line. I'm going to make a video about that because there is some circumstances that you may be interested in knowing, and certainly for me, when I renew, I'm going to find out for sure whether I can actually do it or not. The items, it's a pretty good and comprehensive sort of service, and most of the cars out there from most of the manufacturers are reasonable. I mean, they have gone a bit woke moment the last couple of years. They've gone woke, and they've gone electric, and they've gone completely balmy with the idea that somebody living in a bungalow or a flat can have a PowerPoint outside their house. Yep, I know, that's what they offered to do. They offered to put in a PowerPoint. I don't know where they would put it on my property, because my property where I park my car is a little way from my house. It is outside my house, but it's a little way away. So I don't know how they would do that. And there's certainly no way at the moment I would have a fully electric vehicle. Basically, because I don't approve it, I don't agree with it, and I think it's very much a gimmick. It's a gimmick that the government. I've got to be very careful here because I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on and go down that route of global supremacy and global takeover and, you know, all the other stuff that's conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. And one of those is about getting you out of your vehicle because of this idea that carbon, the CO2 that cars give off, and quite literally they want zero carbon from every single vehicle by 2030, which at the moment is pretty much impossible to achieve because there are too many vehicles on the roads which are petrol and diesel. However, beware. The latest news from the Labour government is they're going to be banning petrol and diesel vehicles. They want you out of your vehicles into public transport, and as we know, if you're disabled and you rely on wheelchairs or scooters, public transport is absolutely shite. There's no way that I would be able to do my work or my job or my shopping because everywhere I want to go would make the journey 10 times longer and also impossible. Car manufacturers are discovering that, well, basically sales have gone minus. They've obviously dropped out. The value of an EV, the second-hand value, it's gone, well, through the floor. It's gone minus. And you will lose, obviously, if you buy one, you will lose thousands. Now, if there is an issue with a EV, obviously the battery has to be renewed, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. So really, looking at an EV, you are looking at very, very short journeys because, you know, they have a short range and then you have to worry about charging them up. Anyway, back to the idea of Motability. So it's a very good scheme. I've been on the scheme for many, many years. I mean, I started pretty much right back in the very beginning. I did it in the 80s, mid-80s and early 90s. I had various other cars. I had a Vauxhall Astra, I had a Vauxhall Cavalier, I think it was. I did have a period of time in between when I had bought my own car. Obviously, you buy a car, you buy it second-hand, whatever, you have to insure it. That was costing me like £400 a year, fairly cheap. You have to pay for servicing, you have to pay for tyres, everything else. Yeah, all those sort of things that add up. At the time, obviously, I was full-time employed, I could afford it. You know, at the moment, I've lost all my work. I'm doing like 2 or 3 hours a week. Can't afford to run a car if I had a car that I was paying for. So this for me is ideal. Now the last 2 cars I've had, which was a Ford S-Max and this one which is a Seat Alhambra, I've had both of those for 5 years and I extended the time period. Now normally it's 3 years, so they have right up to the MOT period and then you can swap it out. Now I kept both of mine because A, I liked the S-Max and I paid for that myself, like the advanced payment, and that was a good amount of money. So you work it out over 5 years, it was actually quite cheap. But of course at the time I had the money coming in. The Seat, slightly different. I kept it for 5 years because of the shutdown and the actual fact that it's only done 12,000 miles in 5 years. So somebody, when they buy that second hand, is going to get a real bargain. Also, what they can help you with is any sort of adaptions. And you'll know from the show I went to recently in Exeter, and there's a video out now, so you can go and watch it. You'll see that there are vehicles there which are called WAVs, W-A-V, which is wheelchair accessible vehicles, and these are adapted so that you can have your wheelchair on board, and mainly for passengers, but also can be adapted for drivers. So if you're in a wheelchair and you need to stay in your chair, you can obviously have a vehicle adapted so that you can drive from your wheelchair. It's all very good. I mean, the technology is wonderful stuff. I mean, it's just very, very clever. So that's an option you can have. However, WAVs, the advance payment, is pretty much unaffordable for a normal disabled person, I would say, unless you're, you've got substantial savings, or you're rich, or you take out a bank loan or something like that. Then pretty much you are going to be struggling to fund the 4 to 12 to 20 grand that you need to have to be able to get one. Now, what is in the advance payment? Well, the advance payment is actually a calculation of the difference between the cost of the vehicle to buy and the resale value. It's a bit of a jiggery-pokery sort of calculation and magic.
Look into my eyes, look into my eyes. The eyes, not around the eyes. Don't look around the eyes, look into my eyes. You're under.
And they come up with a figure. Now, the more expensive the vehicle, the higher the advance payment will be. And obviously, if some sort of manufacturer is offering a discount, for example, then you may find that the advance payment is cheaper. Some vehicles, because they are so cheap and the resale value is quite good, then they can offer you zero payment. So there are some on the scheme, and we're going to have a look at that in a moment. But some of them, some of the smaller vehicles, are zero payment. So you could get a car for just your money that you have on your allowance. Be aware, watch to the end of the video, because I do have a solution. Yes, I do. Unlike the other videos out there from other channels who are discussing this, they haven't offered any solution to this problem. They haven't mentioned it, which I find quite strikingly difficult, because I'm here to inform you and to help you make decisions. And if I don't give you the information, how will you be able to make a decision? No, you can't. So I do have a solution. If you're worried about, you want a car, maybe it's a WAV or something like that, and you can't afford it. Let's have a look at some of the vehicles that you can get. Bear in mind that this video is technically about the fact that prices have gone up, and believe me, they just gone up because it was the 1st of July and they have put the prices up. So compared to, but you cannot compare prices today with prices from 10 years ago, because everything has gone up. The whole thing has gone up. So saying that a car 5 years ago, let's say my car was 2 grand advance payment. They don't make it now, but if it was, then you'd probably find it was 4 grand now. It's gone up because the value of the car has gone up and resale value's gone down. Now you may find that zero, it's not zero anymore, but you have to pay like 3-4 grand, because that's what's happened to the market. So it is quite difficult. Anyway, let's have a look at the Motability website. So here is the website, obviously motability.co.uk. Go over there, and it's quite a good site. You can actually search for vehicles that you need or you would like. Obviously, they do have the pushing the woke agenda, electric vehicles, and they do have normal cars. Find a vehicle. Let's have a car. Do a car. PIP hire rate. Any advance payment. Any make, any model, any fuel type. Well, to be honest with you, I'm going to do petrol, diesel, And oh, they can do LPG. I didn't know that. That's interesting. And I'll do the is that petrol electric? I don't know. Hybrid. Let's do that one as well. Right. Let's see how many. 637 cars. Right. So the small ones, as you can see here, I mentioned earlier, is 0 advance payment. So, you know, there are a few. I mean, there's some of these are quite nice. I mean, the Igo, it's quite a small car. Sandero, Dacia, Renault Clio, Kia Stonic, that's a interesting shape. Citroen C3, Toyota Yaris. So all of these cars are all small. Golf hatchback, I mean, that's quite good. Quite a good car. Let's skip a few pages and see what's so we're getting bigger and bigger now. So here we have a Vitara, which could be quite a good little vehicle, and they're asking for 699. Now, depending on the model and everything else, you have to be aware that some of these are not automatic as well. So, you know, that may be a problem for some people. Kia Ceed Estate, so we're talking 749, and depending on the model, it will be obviously up to 2,300. Nissan Duke, Kia Sportage. Let's go to the maximum page, and then of course we're talking about the luxury vehicles, and Mercedes have just been added apparently. So here is like the, you know, a CLA coupe. You know, we're talking £4,000. Yeah, I mean just automatic and petrol. A BMW 2 Series, DS Automobiles, that's a Citroen. Renault Traffic van. You know, and when you look at these options and you think, well, I love that because that sounds good. Let's have a look at what vehicles you could get for that in that category. So it's a 9-seater, this one, which obviously you could do a wheelchair accessible. But you're talking 4.5, 5,000 or 6,000 advance payment, and that is before it's been adapted. Yeah, I mean, it's just it goes all the way up to £8,000. Now, do you have £8,000 spare? I don't know. I certainly don't. Right, what I'm going to do is just have a quick look at the one that I wanted, which was the Ford. So we're going to look at Ford. Where Ford? There we are. Ford, and it is a Cougar. I'm showing this because you'll see the various categories of car. And also, if you're under 25, some of these cars you can't drive on the insurance because they're obviously too high for your age group. So here, basic model, there are 10 options for this particular car. ST line. Now, be very careful that there is a FH and a PH, and the PH obviously is plug-in. So these are battery-powered petrol, but they are battery-powered as well. And I'm going to talk about that with my conspiracy hat on again later on. But yeah, beware. So we're talking the basic model for a hybrid, automatic, 5 doors, 2.5 engine, which is petrol. It's a small battery. Basically, it is a full hybrid. ST line, and that will cost you £2,500. Obviously the base model, and then titanium, and then the top model. The top model does not have a full hybrid, interestingly. Now, I was very disappointed because I thought that was like, why would they not do a full hybrid? Yeah, but even so, that is £4,000. Interesting. The active is the middle models. We have a £4,000 full hybrid. So that's the middle. From there, SD line special edition is only plug-in, and the sport model SD line obviously is plug-in only. So that for me is my choices. So it's a really good thing, providing you can find a car that is suitable. And I did have a look in the Motability show, as you know. Didn't see any cars I liked, and they didn't have the. Did they have the Cougar? I can't remember if they had it had the Cougar in the WAV area, I believe. Or did they? I can't remember. I don't remember seeing one actually. Ford. They were pushing obviously they were pushing the electric shite. Obviously with my tinfoil hat on again, just beware that you have to think about any sort of electromagnetic sort of radiation that's going to be generated from batteries, which the full hybrid, the plug-in, has batteries under the floor, so that the entire length of the vehicle has batteries, because obviously it wouldn't be able to, sustain the mileage. But you have to bear in mind you are actually sat on a battery, so beware if you are sensitive. Right, now we get to the point of the video that I need to tell you there is a solution to this. Yes, there is. Now, it's not going to help everybody, because bear in mind that the PIP allowance is not means tested. So it is assumed that it applies to everybody. Now, there is a way that if you really have no money and you really need a vehicle, Motability have another aspect. There is a charitable arm of Motability that raises money and can help you. You have to apply for it. The most important part about this is you must apply for the allowance, for the grant, before you order a car. Trust me, if you order a car and then go and try and get the money, they will turn around and say, too late. The grant is means tested if you are on any of these things. So ESA, that is ESA not contributions based. If you're on that, if you're on the other one, can't remember what it's called. What's it called? ESA, yeah, whatever. Anyway, if you're on that, or you get housing benefit, or you get council tax benefit, or anything that is means tested, then you can actually apply for the grant. And the grant, when you ring up, you obviously go through your circumstances, and you tell them what sort of vehicle you're looking for. They may well try and persuade you to have a different car. I've heard that story. Now, obviously, if I'm going to be going there, for example, I ring up, I say I want a Ford Cougar. I've selected the full hybrid. It's currently 2,500. I need a lift, car lift in the back, hoist. That will cost whatever, £500. So in all, I'm looking for £3,000. I'm able to turn around and say, well, you know, are you on ESA or anything like that? Means tested. Can you prove it? And we'll go away and we'll decide whether we're going to give you the money or not. Now, if they do, obviously, then you go to your dealer and you can order the car. The grant department is not Motability. Motability itself is actually not part of that organisation. So, if you're lucky, you can get a car. However, bear in mind what I said earlier about a car being appropriate car, not something that you really want. So it's a need-based system. So you need a car, they have a car, they're willing to pay for it, but you have to have like maybe a base model, unless of course you can prove you need like maybe like I do, you need an electric tail lift because you can't really open the boot. So if the only model in that range has is the top model, and the only one that has it, then they will probably be okay with that. But if every single model has a tail lift, then they will probably pay for the lower one. Now, bear in mind also, there is another thing, if you are thinking about that, and you need to raise some money, maybe that you don't qualify for the grant, bear in mind that you are actually going to be given £750. This is for ordering a new car, and that comes from Motability itself. So they're offering this scheme that £750 is paid when you order a new car. Now you can have that money going to the garage. If you're lucky and you've already got a car and it's in good nick, you could get £250 more. That's for a 3-year contract. If it's a 5-year contract, you'll get £350 when you give it back. So that's more. That's like nearly £1,000 of free money. So in theory, what you could do is you could find a car for £1,000 and you won't have to find any money. You see where I'm going? So it's all very good. So you can actually afford a car without spending any money, which is brilliant. I mean, what I didn't have a look at was electric vehicles, which I think I need to do. Let's go back and look for, see if we can find, where are we? Any fuel type. Let's do a electric vehicle. So, oh, did I do that? Is that right? Yeah, electric. So, again, I mean, there's a Renault Megane there, up to £395. You can have a Peugeot Rifter, which is like a van type thing, 0 payment. So you could have one of those. There's a Combo Life. You remember that? I saw that one in the show. It's 0. So I could have an electric vehicle. Not that I will, but you could. And it would cost you 0. I think we've covered everything on that. So I do hope that you found this video very interesting. I try to offer you information that's current, appropriate and interesting. And of course, you may well disagree. So if you do, then comment down below. But for now, have a good day.